I welcome you viewers today to this segment of WTV where we are committed to educating you richly. I am Oyewumi Abisola Stephanie. Last week, Benedita took us through some types of verbs. As a reminder, a verb is a word that describes an action, a condition, or a state of being. There are different types of verbs. We looked at the auxiliary verbs and modal auxiliaries last time. This week, we'll focus on the finite and non-finite verbs.
A finite verb is a type of verb that is inflected for person and tense. That is why they are sometimes called tensed verbs. They can stand on their own as complete sentences. This means they form verb phrases like she eats, he is eating, she has eaten, and he has been eaten. Notice that these verbs are under auxiliary verbs and modal auxiliary. This shows that auxiliaries and modal auxiliaries are final verb phrases. Finite verbs have a subject with which they agree in person and number. For example, Ayo is eating. Ayo is the subject and is third person. Is signifies that it is singular, the third person singular. And eating is the finite verb.
Now, let's look at the non-finite verbs. These verbs, unlike the finite verbs, lack subject and cannot stand as a predicate. In other words, they are more or less the antonyms of the finite verbs. Let's get details of them.
Non-finite verbs are verbs that lack subject. They are not inflected by tense, aspect, mode, number, gender, or person. They cannot serve as predicates. That is, they do not describe how the action by the subject in the sentence is being done. They say nothing about the subject. In sentences, there is usually a verb that occurs immediately after the subject. It agrees with the subject before the occurrence of the non-finite verb. For example, she loves flaunting her long hair. Loves goes in agreement with the subject she. Flaunting hair does not go in agreement with the subject. That means flaunting is the non-finite verb.
Sometimes a verb functions as an adjective in a sentence. When this happens, it is a non-finite verb. Example, I asked him to replace the broken glass. Broken describes the state of the glass. So, it is functioning as an adjective as well as a verb. Therefore, it is a non-finite verb. When a verb is preceded by to, it is a non-finite verb. Examples, to laugh in a tense moment is out of place. Laugh is the non-finite verb. To read without light is not easy. Read is the non-finite verb because it comes after to. When a verb is in gerund form, that is, when it ends with ing, it is a non-finite verb. Examples, giving is a virtue. Reading without light is not easy.
Alright, the period is over for today. In summary, let us look at what we have learned so far. 1. Auxiliary verbs. These verbs help the main verbs to form specific tenses, negatives, questions. Under this, we have the verbs to do, to have, to be. 2. Modal auxiliaries. These are also helping verbs that express possibilities, probabilities, obligation, certainty, permission, etc. They include can, could, will, would, may, might, ought to, have to, need to be able to, etc. 3. Finite verbs. These verbs are inflected for person and tense that can stand on its own as a complete sentence. And 4. Non-finite verbs. These verbs are opposite in expression to finite verbs. They lack subjects, not inflected by person, tense, aspect, number, mood, etc. And that will be all from here today. Keep practicing the right use of these verbs and see us next time to learn the transitive and intransitive verbs. Bye now.